When I was about 18, I decided to go to the United States Military Academy at West Point for my college experience. It was even more than I ever expected. It was much more difficult, which usually doesn't sound like a good thing, but when you get through something like that, you really feel like you've accomplished something. The bonds I made, the skills I learned about discipline, about loyalty, about honor, integrity, teamwork, those kind of core Army values were instilled early on and throughout my 4 years there. And little did I know, all that training was really getting me prepared to be an astronaut and to be, have the traits that NASA was looking for. And I continued to develop this theme of being a positive role model for people, mentoring the newer folks in our office and trying to help them develop as they get their skills ready to go fly in space for the first time. I've also really taken an interest in the youth in our area, coaching sports teams and working with youth groups at church, and being able to invest my time and energy into them has really been a passion of mine over the last several years. I'm Shane Kimbrough, and I'm an astronaut.
T-minus
3, 2, 1.
Atlas engine ignition.
Liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Delta IV Heavy rocket.
At Space Launch Complex 41, the Atlas V rocket is fueled and ready to launch the third space-based infrared system for the United States Air Force. Good evening and welcome to Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. I'm Andrea Linhoff. I'm a parts, materials, and processes engineer focusing on additive manufacturing, also known as 3D printing, at the United Launch Alliance. I'm joining you here today in Mission Control at the Atlas Spaceflight Operations Center. The launch team is not currently working any issues, and we're proceeding towards a 7:46 p.m. Eastern liftoff. The launch window for today's opportunity will be 40 minutes. We are currently in the 30-minute hold. This planned hold gives the time team to conduct final systems checks and resolve outstanding issues prior to entering the terminal count. Again, at this point, the team is not working any issues. Later in the show, I'll be joined by First Lieutenant Nick Walton, representing the United States Air Force. Lieutenant Walton and I will discuss rockets, SBIRS, and more. And shortly before spacecraft separation, we will be answering questions tweeted to ULA Launch using the hashtag AskULA. So make sure to submit all your questions prior to launch.
Constant. And this is Yankee Papa 11, we need to change that to 150 millimeters of mercury using option 580.
Clay Finn, the 45th Space Wing Weather Officer, recently briefed the launch team on the weather conditions here at Cape Canaveral. The probability of violating launch constraints is 0%. The ground winds are 1 knot out of the east and the temperature is 71 degrees Fahrenheit. So the weather is within the launch commit criteria and looks favorable for tonight's planned T0 of 7:46 p.m. Eastern. Following nearly a 44-minute flight, the Atlas V 401 rocket will deliver the third SBIRS GEO satellite to geosynchronous transfer orbit. Let's take a look at some of the events we can expect to see during today's launch.
The following profile details the important events of this mission using approximate times.
5, 4, 3. We have ignition. 2, 1, 0. We have liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket.
The Atlas V RD-180 main engine ignites to lift the vehicle away from the pad. Shortly after liftoff, Atlas begins its initial pitch, yaw, and roll maneuvers to attain the proper ascent profile and minimize aerodynamic loads. The Atlas V reaches Mach 1, the speed of sound, at 81 seconds. At 91 seconds, the vehicle experiences maximum dynamic pressure. Approaching booster engine cutoff, the Atlas V is burning propellant at a rate of 1,600 pounds per second, traveling at over 10,900 miles per hour, and located 63 miles in altitude and 144 miles downrange. Booster engine cutoff occurs 4 minutes, 3 seconds after liftoff. The booster stage is jettisoned 6 seconds later. 10 seconds after booster separation, the first Centaur main engine start takes place. The payload fairing is jettisoned 8 seconds later. The vehicle now weighs just 8% of what it did at liftoff 4.5 minutes earlier. Cutoff of the Centaur main engine occurs just over 15 minutes after launch. The mission now enters a 10-minute coast phase. At nearly 25 minutes, the Centaur main engine is restarted. This burn will last just over 3 minutes. Following the second Centaur main engine cutoff at 28 minutes 38 seconds, the mission enters a final 15-minute coast phase. At 43 minutes 48 seconds, Centaur releases the third SBIRS GEO satellite for the United States Air Force, providing early missile warning detection.
We have just been informed that the launch team is working an issue. We will keep you updated as information becomes available. ULA is using the Atlas V 401 configuration to launch the third SBIRS GEO flight. This is the 69th Atlas V launch and the 116th ULA mission, as well as the 34th launch of the Atlas V 401 configuration. Produced in Decatur, Alabama and Harlingen, Texas, the Atlas V 401 is comprised of a Common Core booster powered by an RD-180 engine and a Centaur second stage powered by the Aerojet Rocketdyne RL-10C1 engine. The SBIRS satellite is encapsulated within a 4-meter diameter payload fairing that protects it during ascent. Events that took place in preparation for today's launch began on January 7th when the satellite was encapsulated inside the payload fairing. On January 12th, the encapsulated payload was transported to the Vertical Integration Facility, or VIF, at Space Launch Complex 41, where it was mated to the Atlas V rocket. This activity completes the stack and is the last major processing milestone before final launch preparations begin. The launch countdown begins with moving the rocket from the VIF to the pad. At approximately 9:30 a.m. yesterday, the quarter-mile trip began using 6 components to complete the 20-minute trip. Weighing in at about 2 million pounds, the Mobile Launch Platform, or MLP, supports the rocket and contains air conditioning, electrical, and commodities, while the undercarriages bear the weight of the MLP and the rocket. 2 rail cars lead the move, with the payload van providing communication to the payload, while the ground van houses the ground support for the rocket. At the rear of the convoy, the Portable Environmental Control System provides air conditioning to the payload and the rocket. Finally, track mobiles provide the power to move the 3.5 million pound convoy. The Atlas V rocket stands 188 feet tall, or about 19 stories, and weighs more than 750,000 pounds fully fueled. The RD-180 main engine produces more than 860,000 pounds of thrust to lift the rocket off the pad and begin its journey to orbit.
LC, LD, Channel 1.
Go ahead.
Let's see, based on the anomaly we're working on the instrumentation, we need to, we're no longer able to support the beginning of the window. We need to set up to not pick up the clock.
LC copies. Timer LC.
Go ahead.
Do not release the hold.
Roger.
RCLC.
RCN1.
We're extending the hold.
Copy.
STD. LC Net 1.
Go ahead, LC.
Spacecraft to internal power.
Roger.
FTSLC, Net 1.
Go ahead.
Establish Davis system cameras configured for launch.
Roger. Davis system cameras configured for launch.
Roger.
We are currently working an instrumentation issue on the Atlas engine. We will not be launching in the first opportunity of today's window. A new T0 will be announced when the issue has been resolved. As I mentioned earlier, the Atlas V is launching the third dedicated satellite in the space-based infrared system. SBIRS, one of the nation's highest priority space programs, is designed to provide global, persistent, and taskable infrared surveillance capabilities to meet 21st century demands in missile warning and defense, technical intelligence, and battlespace awareness. The system architecture consists of legacy Defense Support Program satellites, hosted SBIRS sensor payloads in highly elliptical orbit, and dedicated SBIRS geosynchronous Earth orbiting satellites. The satellite constellation is supported by ground infrastructure, which receives, processes, and delivers the infrared information to key decision makers. Lockheed Martin is a prime contractor for the program, with Northrop Grumman serving as a primary payload provider. The SBIRS team is led by Remote Sensing Systems Directorate at the United States Air Force Space and Missile Systems Center and is operated by Air Force Space Command. The artwork on the payload fairing of the rocket features a black background representing the darkness of space behind an eagle, which signifies the Remote Sensing Systems Directorate. The globe represents the importance of this satellite, providing missile warning, which is the cornerstone of deterrence to the U.S. and its allies. Adopting the motto from the two previous SBIRS launches, Always Vigilant, the Flight 3 logo reads, Semper Vigilans, a tribute to the SBIRS heritage. Just yesterday, I had the opportunity to go to the pad and speak with one of our engineers. Let's take a look at what he had to say. I'm here on the pad with Tyler Strickland from ULA. Tyler, can you tell us what you do?
Yes, I am the mission engineer for SBIRS GEO Flight 3 for the flight design group.
Great, so you just mentioned GEO, which is where we're going for this flight.
That's right.
Can you tell me a little bit about what goes into the planning for that?
Sure, so SBIRS GEO Flight 3 is going to a geosynchronous orbit. We're going to drop them off in a geosynchronous transfer orbit, and then they're going to take it the remainder of the way. So we designed that mission by taking the mass properties, the thrust characteristics for the engines, and then optimizing where the burns are and how long they are to get them in the right place so we have the most extra gas in the tank.
Wow, that's amazing. Sounds pretty interesting to be a mission engineer.
It's a lot of fun.
So the launch is going to be at a pretty obscure time, 7:46 p.m. Eastern Time. Can you tell us why you chose that time?
So we had specific orbital requirements that the customer gave us, and we used those to tailor what time of day we launch at. They actually require us to go to a specific RAN, and if you excuse me, I'm going to get a little nerdy.
Yes,
that's the right.
I've been waiting for it.
It's the right ascension of the ascending node. And so that is when the satellite ascending node crosses the equatorial plane, and it's the angle between that and the vernal equinox. So that determines what time of day we launch at, and it actually changes each day by a few minutes to account for the change of the Earth's rotation.
This is your first SBIRS launch. How are you feeling about that? And also, what advice would you give to our viewers if they wanted to become a mission engineer?
I'm really excited for my first launch. This was the first mission that I took on when I started at ULA, and I've been working on it more than 2 years now.
Wow.
So I'm really excited for it to get off the ground. And then for young engineers that want to become a mission engineer like me, I definitely recommend doing all of your math and physics homework and watch as much Bill Nye the Science Guy as you can.
Well, Tyler, thank you so much for your time today. Now let's get back to the launch.
LCSTD Channel 1, spacecraft on internal power.
Roger.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We remain in the planned hold. We are currently working an issue, so we will not make the beginning of today's window. When a new T0 has been assigned, the launch conductor, Ed Kidda, will pull the launch team for the final go to pick up the countdown. 27 engineers and managers will be pulled for system status and the readiness to proceed with the launch. This is a final status check before launch for all Atlas vehicle systems, ground systems, the spacecraft, and the U.S. Air Force Eastern Range. The readiness pull includes hydraulics, pad water deluge system, electrical systems, pneumatics, propulsion systems, flight control, and propellants. We are currently working an issue and will let you know once a plan T0 is announced.
LC, there's ACN1 ready to outbrief the fuel vacuum sensor failure issue.
LD?
LD.
MD?
MD.
Proceed, AC.
Okay, the team has thoroughly evaluated this condition with the loss of these two sensors, and we've developed a backup plan to monitor the data when we redo option 445. We have family data plus data from this engine's hot fire that will be used to compare the results of that fuel fill operation. We have set up with Bidder 1 to, once they confirm that that is good or not, they report to VSC and myself on 4, and we will relay the status at that point. We need to reperform option 445, which we've previously adjusted the constant to allow for this condition. We also need to perform option 715 to clear the VHM condition on RLM. Our recommendation then is to do that and see how the fuel flow operation goes for the final polls.
LC copies and concurs. Launch Director?
LD concurs.
Mission Director?
MD copies and concurs.
Flight Control LC?
Flight Control?
At this time, can you run option 715 to clear the out of tolerance?
Yes, sir. Active.
Prop 1 LC?
Go.
Initiate fuel fill sequence.
Roger. LC Flight Control on 1.
Go ahead.
715 complete.
Roger.
We're at a second one.
LC, this radar monitor.
Go ahead.
Roger, with the flight control clearing, the discrete radar monitor has done so and is green and active.
Roger, so that you can give me step 1000 at this moment, or we will wait till the completion of fuel fill sequence?
Roger, we'll wait.
LC, LD, channel 1.
Go ahead.
LC, the MD has concurred with our plan forward, and we've selected a new T0 of 1:16 Zulu. Please coordinate that with the range, set the clocks, and proceed.
Roger. RCLC?
RCN1.
Please coordinate new T0 of 01:16 Zulu with the range.
Roger, copy and work.
Timer LC.
This timer, go ahead.
Please set the clock for new T0 of 01:16 Zulu.
Roger, and work.
LCRC net 1.
Go ahead.
Ranges are approved, new T0 01:16 Zulu.
Roger.
The launch team has identified a plan forward. Pending a successful test, a new T0 of 8:16 p.m. Eastern Time has been identified.
This is DE on net 4.
On 1. And this is LC on net 1 performing terminal count briefing. If a condition exceeds a launch constraint anytime after the terminal count status check, the observer shall announce hold, hold, hold on channel 1, identify their station, and briefly state the reason for the hold.
LC1 is AC.
Go ahead.
Yes, fuel fill has been evaluated. ULA's position is go.
Roger.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We remain in the planned hold as launch preparations continue. In a few moments, launch conductor Ed Kiddo will pull the launch team for the final go to pick up the countdown. Let's listen in as launch conductor Ed Kiddo performs the final pulling of the team.
LC, this red line monitor.
Go ahead.
Red line monitor and event table are in the correct configuration for terminal count.
Roger. And this is LC picking up with the status check to proceed with terminal count. Atlas Systems propulsion.
Not ready, pending for the successful completion of my test.
Roger, come back when ready. Hydraulics.
Ready.
Pneumatics.
Go.
Go. LO2.
Ready.
Go. Water.
Go.
Centaur Systems propulsion.
Go.
Pneumatics.
Go.
LO2.
Go.
LH2.
Go.
HASGAS.
Go.
Electrical Systems airborne.
Go.
Ground.
Go.
Facility.
Go.
RFFTS.
Go.
Flight control.
Go.
COM.
Go.
Timer.
Go.
GC cube.
Go.
Umbilicals.
Go.
ECS.
Go.
Redline monitor.
Go.
Quality.
Go.
Ops safety manager.
Go.
ELA safety officer.
Go.
Vehicle system engineer.
VSC is go.
Anomaly chief.
AC is go.
Range coordinator.
Clear to proceed.
And launch director, we're waiting on Atlas Propulsion to provide a go.
LD copies. I have 90 seconds left.
And Prop 1, 90 seconds. Was confirmed.
71 seconds.
Repeat Prop 1.
You have 65 seconds. 63.
LDLC, Net 1.
LD.
With a report from Prop 1, we will not be complete with fuel fill. Recommend
Yeah, LD
not releasing the hold.
will do not release the hold. We'll coordinate a new T0.
Copy. Timer LC.
Go ahead.
Do not release the hold.
Roger.
Atlas propulsion is go for launch.
Roger. And for the team on Net 1, maintain system readiness. I do not plan on repolling.
LC, LD.
Go ahead.
The MD has directed us to a new T0. New T0 is 1:26.
1:26.
That's a good copy.
RCLC.
RCN1.
Please coordinate a new T0 with the range of 01:26 with the range.
Roger, copy and work.
Timer LC.
This timer, go ahead.
Please set the clock for a new T0 of 01:26.
Roger and work.
And LDLC.
LD.
At this time, I recommend not repolling. I have the operators maintaining system readiness. I will only look for
LC,
your
RC
permission and mission director's permission.
I concur with that strategy. Did you get booster propulsion final concurrence readiness?
Yes.
I copy that. Thank you.
LC, RC, Net 1.
Go ahead.
Roger that, new T001:26, been coordinated pre-weather range.
Roger. LC, switch to the ready position.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. Polling is complete and a new T0 of 8:26 p.m. Eastern Time has been identified. From T-minus 4 minutes until launch, you will be listening to launch conductor Ed Kidda and his team performing the final steps in the countdown procedure. You will hear the team call out that Atlas LO2 topping has been secured followed by about a minute later by the call out for transferring of the Atlas and Centaur stages from ground facility power to internal battery power. At T-minus 155, the team will command the launch sequencer to start, followed shortly by securing the Centaur LH2 and LO2 topping activity. At T-minus 140, the team will command the flight control system to launch enable and arm the flight termination system. In the final minute, the Atlas tanks will be verified at flight pressures, followed by verifications of Centaur tank pressures. A final status check of Atlas, Centaur, and SBIRS GEO Flight 3 readiness is conducted at T-minus 25 seconds. At T-minus 3 seconds, the RD-180 engine will roar to life. After liftoff, you'll hear the voice of Rob Gannon providing launch vehicle ascent data.
Two six Zulu. Count will start at 0122 Zulu.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We have just received confirmation to launch at 8:26 p.m. Eastern Time.
Check channel 2.
STD, LC, Net 1.
STD,
Verifying spacecraft's on internal power.
Roger, spacecraft is internal.
Roger. All steps complete prior to terminal count.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We anticipate releasing the hold in just a few moments.
The time will be T-minus 4 minutes and counting. 3, 2, 1, mark.
Ground pyros enabled.
The countdown clock is resumed and we are go for launch at 7:46 p.m. Eastern Time. 8:26 p.m. Eastern Time.
Hold. It's the MIFCO on channel 1 with a hold due to a fouled range.
LC switch not ready. All personnel turn to the recycle pages. Operation 80.
And LC, flight control channel 1.
Go ahead.
I confirm we did receive an MSC MIFCO not ready indication.
Roger. And LC switch is not ready.
And flight control is ready to reset clock to T-minus 4 minutes and holding.
Timer LC, reset countdown clock to T-minus 4 minutes and holding.
Roger, and work.
1 LC.
Go ahead.
Status of Atlas tanks.
Atlas tank pressures are stable.
Roger. And LC flight control. Go ahead. I can confirm SVAPS is inactive and FCS is in pre-flight mode. Roger. P&E2?
Centaur tank pressures are stable.
Roger. FTS LC. Status at step 70.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We are currently experiencing a range issue. We will let you know as the issue has been resolved.
Of FTS safe and external.
FTS safe and external.
Roger.
LC timer.
Go ahead.
Countdown clock reset to T-minus 4 minutes and holding.
Roger.
LO2 topping in progress.
Roger. And hold was called at T-minus 3 minutes and 26 seconds. All stations recycle systems back to T-minus 4 and holding configuration. Recycle occurred at T-minus 3 minutes and 26 seconds. Report status at completion.
LC, step India, fuel 2, Centaur LH2, continuing topping.
Roger. LOX 1 LC.
LOX 1 go.
And you called in.
Continuing it, LO2 topping.
Roger.
LC prop 1.
Go ahead.
Yes, Atlas propulsion system stable and hydraulic system stable.
Roger and roger.
LC FTS.
Go ahead.
Step Juliet. RFS ready.
Roger.
At Alpha, P&E 1.
Go ahead.
Atlas pneumatics pressure stable.
Roger.
LCRC net 1.
Go ahead.
Roger that. This time the issue due to the fouled range was an aircraft expected to be in the discovery area T0.
Roger.
LC ECS.
Go ahead.
ECS set points are stable.
Roger.
Step Lima, GC3 ready.
Roger. LC flight control. Go ahead. Step Kilo ready. Roger.
LC P&E 2.
Go ahead.
Op 80, step 370, Echo, and Foxtrot. Complete.
Roger, 2 places.
Step Mike, redline monitor ready.
Roger.
LC locks 2 on 1.
Go ahead.
Step Golf and Hotel complete.
Roger, 2 places.
LCLD channel 1.
Go ahead.
All right, please set up for a 24-hour scrub. Tomorrow's T0 is 4 minutes earlier at 0042. And RC request a backup day of Saturday.
Roger. RCLC.
RCN1.
And LD has directed us to a scrub today and with a launch attempt for tomorrow and a backup on Saturday. Please coordinate with the range.
Roger, and work.
Redline monitor, LC.
Go ahead.
Verify redline monitor and vent table are in the correct configuration at this time.
Verified.
And for the team on net 1, we'll move to operation 90 and stand by.
This is Atlas Mission Control. It has been confirmed that we will not continue with Atlas V SBIRS GEO Flight 3 launch activities this evening. We have a 24-hour recycle, so our next launch attempt will be tomorrow between 7:52 to 8:22 p.m. Eastern Time. For the most up-to-date information, please visit ulalaunch.com, follow us at ULA Launch, or call 1-877-ULA 4321. This concludes today's live broadcast. I'm Andrea Lenhoff. Thanks for joining us.